Databricks interviews are going on like crazy. Everybody is demanding Databricks data engineer, Databricks data architect. I take interviews starting from 5 years of experience up to 20 years of experience. I have realized that there are certain point of successes and failure in the interview that I certainly want to share with you guys. This particular video series is to help you guys to prepare for interviews on Databricks. Let's begin. One of the first important thing that an interviewee is being looked upon is related to how much he understands the data landscape. Whether you are a 5 years experience or a 20 years experience, we always expect that you must know your data landscape well. We try to deliberately ask these questions so that if somebody is actually not done the project, he will goof up. There are certain things that you must know by heart for your project, and if you have done, then no need to worry, you will be able to tell like anything. But you have not, if you have not done that particular type of a project, then you should be able to fit in your mind some of these important points. To start with, the first point is daily data volume. How much of a data volume you deal with on a daily basis? How much of a record count that you deal with on a daily basis? Whether it's million, billion, that kind of thing. They want to understand that. So first is volume, second is record count. Both defines the kind of solution you deploy and the kind of problems you face. The third important thing is the data format. What kind of data ingestion that is happening, whether it's a CSV, Excel, Parquet, and in what format you are storing the data. Another important thing which is being asked is what kind of Spark version or Databricks version you guys are using. This tells the depth of understanding of the candidate. The next thing is the batch frequency. In what frequency you run those things on a daily basis, monthly basis. This is another important thing. If you are being asked an interview question on a specific area like Databricks streaming, then you must be able to tell at what frequency you get that data and how you handle everything. So these are some of the basic things that you must know. If you goof up in this, believe me, your interview is over at that point itself. So take a look at it and then try to prepare yourself. The next important thing is the thing that we judge from a candidate is capability to do a performance troubleshooting. So let's say there is a 30-minute job that is there and suddenly it started taking 5 hours. The reason this question is asked in a twisted way is to make sure that you understand the real production type of scenarios. So there is a job that is running on a daily basis for 30 minutes, but suddenly it started the time spike and it started taking 5 hours. So you must be able to tell, first of all, the reasons for it. So first thing that you must say is, let's remove the possibility of any code change. So yes, there is no code change that has been done. Okay. But then also is there a possibility that the job might spike? Yes. Because in data engineering, it's not just your code that is a variable factor. Another variable factor is your data storage and your compute. So there is a possibility that your data has suddenly spiked because of seasonal behavior, because of more transaction coming in, or maybe because of even the duplicate files. There is a sudden spike in the data, and that is not, your storage is not sufficient to handle that. And therefore, you started uh, like there is a congestion, and because of that, there is a possibility that the job is taking more time. There is a sudden growth in input volume. That's the first reason. Second reason is data skew. Maybe possibility in some area there is a huge amount of transaction that has happened and therefore there is a data skew. So only a few keys hold disproportionately large data. Then there is a small file problem. Okay. So suddenly there are a lot of small files that are coming, and small files always create a problem in big data environments. Another side of a story can be a compute. So there is a possibility that you are under provision for a volume spike. So let's say you are a retail company, and on, let's say, Black Fridays, you receive 10 times more of a data, and then your compute is not provisioned in that way to handle that kind of volume, then you may face this problem. There is a possibility that the executors are not having sufficient memory, and they have started spilling the data into the disk because of your volume spike, of course. And then there is a possibility that there are too many shuffles or partition happening because of certain change of a nature of data, and that is causing this volume spike. So before solving any problem, you must understand what the problem is and where it is coming from. It could come only from two things: either it is data or compute. Okay, so these are like thumb rules that you must first clarify your interviewer. Then there is something like how you troubleshoot. He would want to understand how you troubleshoot. Okay, so you can go into the Spark UI. Spark UI is the ultimate place where you can check what all stages that are happening in your job and all. So that's what you must be able to communicate. So inspect the stages. First step is open Spark UI, inspect the stages and SQL tabs, find the longest running job, and look at the task level duration speed. So maybe a particular task is taking more time because of certain data sets, maybe because of certain spike in the volume. Okay, so that is what we have to figure out using Spark UI. Check the data size. As I mentioned, first check the data size. Then if data size is not increased, check the skew within the data. Whether the data is skewed, suddenly skewed. Earlier it was not skewed, suddenly skewed. Then we check the compute, whether all the computes are showing the CPU being like maxed out like crazy. Okay, all the CPUs are maxed out. Then in that case, it's a scale problem. Just increase the compute and go ahead. And then if at all nothing is happening, then there is a possibility that there is no chance that you could easily fix it with the increase of memory or increase of compute. You may have to deploy certain sort of a code change, but that's the last thing that you should do. So interviewer is also checking whether you are directly jumping to the code change. I have seen many crazy folks directly saying that, okay, I'll start applying partition. Or no, you must first go and check the size of the data, then you must check the size of compute, and then you must go and check if there is a possibility, the last choice, where you have to make a code change. So this is how you step by step diagnose the performance tuning problem. If at all you have to go to a last resort, some of the things that come into handy is enabling the adaptive queue query execution, AQE. That's what we call. There is a simple formula to it: spark.sql.adaptive.enabled is equal to true, or even the skew join you can enable true, so that Spark internally perform or changes the join and it's adaptively work towards your data. Then there is a possibility that you may have to increase the cardinality. So therefore, there is a possibility that df dot repartition, if you repartition it in a certain way, it will cause a shuffle, but it will solve your problem of high skew. Eventually, maybe a last resort, you may have to apply some sorting column, which helps you to distribute the data well. So overall, Spark problem or Spark uh, uh, performance problem is making sure that the data is distributed in a right way and then processed in a optimized way. That's how you have to um, answer the performance or troubleshooting issues. So again repeating, starting with data first, validating that okay, there is no spike in volume or skewness, there is no shortage of a compute, and then only going to the code. So this is what we have been listening to this video. In the next video, we'll check another important question, which is duplication of records and how to handle it. What are the causes of duplicates, and then how we handle it in a best possible way. Thank you for listening. Thank you.